we're going to turn this into this. Now, well, I'm just going with the basic tools. There's no sense in going out and spending a bunch of money on tools to build something with. Basically, we have a skill saw, utility knife, speed square, hammer, tape measure, pencil. I have a screw gun with a T25 bit. I'm going to be putting all this together with 2.5 inch T25 screws and 3 inch T25 screws. Now you could use a nail gun or something like that if you have one. Me, when it comes to garage, we're always wanting to change things around and do things differently. You know, we'll build one thing and then later on find out we want something different, so we can at least take it apart with the screws. Got my workbenches. I've had these for quite some time. You can see they've been cut through a bunch of times. I have 10 16-foot 2x4s. Oh yeah, gotta have the Bud Light. You're out here working in the garage at home. I don't exactly recommend that if you're working with power tools, but we're men. We can handle it. And also I have 3 sheets of plywood laying on the back of my truck. So I'm gonna go in here and get the camera set up. I'm not gonna bore you guys with all the cutting of the wood and stuff like that. I'll try to show you some details of what we're doing in here. So let me get this camera set up and we'll get started. All right. What I'm gonna do is go in here, measure up 35.5 inches for a mark. Come over here on the other end, come up 35.5 inches. Put a mark, and then we're going to chalk a line from that end to that end. All right, now that we have our line across, measure and cut our first 2x4. We're gonna install our back 2x4 first. We have 16 footers. Let's see what we come out with here. 188.5. I'm going to go cut that and I'll be right back. T25 screws. Now, being I'm doing this by myself, what we're going to do is go over here where our line's at. We're going to measure down, say around 3.5 inches. And we're going to put a screw right a little bit below that mark. That way we can always raise it up to it. Call that a dead man. That way you have something to hold one end of your 2x4. Put it up. Go down here. Our 2x4 up here. And then we're going to grab a couple. Now, you don't need to go every stud yet. I would skip about 3 or 4 studs. Come down here. Raise it up to your line. Install a screw. Do that. Oh, lost my bit. Get down here. Our line here, lighting in here kind of sucks. Then we can remove that dead man. And we'll use that. And right here we're going to Toenail it. If you don't split wood like I just did. And then we'll go down through there and we'll put 2 screws in every stud. Now, originally when I was planning this garage, I didn't put any windows over here for a reason. I knew I was going to be building all my workbenches and everything over here on this side. And also on the outside, I want to put a lean-to off the side of it so I can get the lawnmower and pressure washer and all the hand tools, you know, shovels and stuff like that out of here so we have more room to work in here. My wife told me that when we were building the garage, she had to have a little corner of it, so I told her that corner over there is hers and this one's mine. So I'm limited. 16 by 20, 320 square foot garage, but not very much room. All right, we'll go over here and cut our measurement here. 44 7/8. You'll cut that and I'll be right back. Screws. Now when you're toenailing or toe screwing, you always want, you're going to want to think that you need to put the screw right where the wood's at. What I do is I go off about an inch, inch and a quarter away from the stud and I'll angle it back. The reason I do that is because if you try to put your screw right here, it's going to split the wood. So we'll put the screw back a little further and just kind of toenail it back into there. Bore you guys with putting all the rest of the screws in there, so I'll get back to you here in just a minute. What I'm doing here is I came over close to 4 foot over. It's not exact, but a workbench is going to be 2 foot wide from the wall out. So what I did was I measured off of the outside wall, put a 2 foot mark, and cut a 2x4 that will reach from the top of the joist to the floor, and we're going to put a screw in up here. Get the screw to work. Alright, now we're going to go down here at the bottom. Actually, before we do that, we're going to want to measure off the outside wall. The outside here, we have 45 and 5/8. We're going to come over here on the floor. We're going to measure off the wall 45, 5/8. And then we're going to measure off the bottom plate out 2 foot. That's going to be our stopping point for our 2x4. We're going to go ahead and put a screw and toenail that to the floor. Alright, that's that. Now you guys probably wonder why I'm not using a level for most of this. It's a pretty good sized garage. I built it. It's sitting on piers. It's not actually permanently fastened to the ground. So over the years, it's probably sunk a little bit, or it will sink a little bit. It's not exactly level. I already know that I have to jack it back up a little bit and then pour some footers underneath of it. I just wanted it temporary right now. So best thing to do is measure everything. You pull out a level in a garage or a shed that's out of level, you're going to start finding things that are out of whack. You know, the shed's built the same dimensions all the way around, so everything's square and stuff like that. So it should work out correctly this way. We're going to go down here, and I'm going to go ahead and do the same thing at the other end. And what we're going to do is we're going to run a 2x4 at the same height, 35.5 inches between this one and that one. And then we're going to block back into here and put our plywood across for this bench. And then we'll go over here and we'll start building in our shelves. And then I'll have to filter through some of these tools and figure out what I need and where I need it and how I can fit it to decide on where we're going to put the rest of the shelving and stuff like that as we go. I'm kind of shooting in the dark at this one. I just went and bought some wood that I thought would be enough to take care of this. I may run out near the end, hopefully not, but we'll see here shortly. Let me go ahead and get this other 2x4. All right, now we're going to measure up the same height as what our back bench here is, which is 35.5. Squares marked across. And then also what we're going to do on this end, take a 2x4 block, put it right at the top of our mark the bottom of it. We're going to come in here. We're going to put a screw in that block, put it right below that mark. And there's our dead man to hold the other end of our board. Right down here, mark the other end. Five and a half. Where the mark across. And what I like to do, try to make things a little easier, rather than try to hold a board and get a screw started. We're going to turn this 2x4 edgeways. You'll see here in just a minute. So I'm going to go ahead and get some screws started here. And start some screws on the other end. Our mark here. All right. Now, before we put this board up, there's a thing called crowning a board. Every board, as you know, when you look at it, sometimes it'll look like a snake or to have a hump in it. Best thing to do when you're building a bench like this and a board like this, this front board that's going to be self-supporting until we get the blocking and everything in, try to look for the straightest board you can find. Also though, while you're doing that, you're going to want to pick your board up like so and look down the edge of it. You'll turn it edgeways and you'll look for that hump. See right here, our hump up is right here. This is our hump down. So this is going to be our crown. This is the side that we're going to want to turn up. The one that's got the hump in it. Because over time when it settles, you don't want the hump the opposite way because it settles, it's going to hump even further. What you want is every time when it settles, you want that hump to settle down and it'll come out pretty much close to level. We're going to take our board, set it up here on our dead man, come over here, get down to our mark. Come out flush even here, what we want. Go ahead and install our 2 screws. Then come down here. My board's a little twisted, so I'm going to twist it back straight. Take a dead man out. Okie dokie. Now, we know that from a wall to here, we have 45 3/8. We're going to go back here. We're going to mark 45 3/8. That's going to put us right here, right next to this. And we're going to put our mark. And that's where we're going to put our first board. Our cross brace going this way to catch our plywood. Now I'd recommend putting them 16 inches on center. That way you don't have any dips in your plywood. You know, if you go with 3/4 inch plywood, you could technically go 2 foot on center. But if you want it to be really sturdy and stout and hold itself up with a lot of weight on top, go 16 inches on center, because believe it or not, you're only going to add one joist in 12 foot. So you're not adding a lot of wood going 16 inches on center. Everybody thinks that for some reason you're adding more. You're actually not adding that much more, and you're adding more strength. So the little bit of cost is well worth it in the end. So we have 21 1/8 there. We're going to check both ends. Now mind you, your wall could be bowed in and out a little bit. That's why you kind of crown all the studs when you're framing your wall. You want to crown all your studs. That way everything's kind of going the same direction. You don't want to zigzag in and out. I have 21 1/8 there, 21 over here. So I'm probably going to have to cut each one of them individual. But what we're going to need to do is we're going to watch down through this center. We want to kind of stay close to the same. You could string a line from here to there. That way you keep this straight. Your back wall, there's not much you can do with that. It's already framed. So let me go cut some blocks and get those put in here. Okay. Go ahead and put the first block in here. Okay, now we have our starting point for a block, and if we're going to go 16 inches on center, what you want to do is you want to set 3/4 of an inch back. So your first block is going to be at 15 1/4. That way 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 8 foot, and so on falls center in your plywood. You won't have to cut it 8 foot. Once you get down here, 8 foot will break right in the center of your block. So rather than going ahead and measure them all down through there and having to figure out and set them back 3/4 of an inch, we're going to go ahead and square our mark up. Screw, put in our block. I know there's a new one in that box somewhere. All right, now that we have our first one in at 15 1/4, now we can pour 16s all the way down through there off of that one. There we go, 16, 32, 48, 64, 80, 8 foot, 112. This is going to be our last one. And our last one will sit right up against that down there. We're going to transfer that to the back. Same thing. Alright, those of you that don't know, you're going to see me every now and then, I'll put an X. I'll draw my line and put an X. It just tells me what side I want to put my block on, or my stud, or anything that I'm building. Alright, we need to get one more measurement. Up here. Here we have 142 1/4. We're going to measure off the back side of this block, and 142 1/4. And I'll put an X back this way, that way I know where to set it. And that's going to be our last block to go in for this shelf. So we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We have 4 there, so I need to go cut 4 more. I'll be right back. Got it. Not going to put a center brace in it yet. I'm going to wait until we get a little further along. Get your plywood on it and figure out where we're going to put our other shelves. If I can get you guys over here where you can get a better view of what's going on here, what we've built so far. We ran our 2x4s all the way down through there to the other end, and now hopefully you can see that. I can't exactly see what this video is doing. Now we're going to build our 2 corners. So I'm going to go ahead and move the camera over here a little closer so you can see what I got going on. See if we can figure out which one I want to do first. I guess we'll go ahead and do this corner first. Get you back here where you can see a little better. Let me see here. Make sure you're going to be able to see everything going on in here. All right. Now we're going to go ahead and block this in. We'll carry that shelf through, same height as this one, all the way across. And then we'll probably build another shelf up here. Probably 2 more shelves. I believe I may leave this open so I can get some equipment or something underneath of it. That way we don't take up our workbench area. We can get tools and things under there. I'd rather put my equipment underneath of the 2 corner shelves out of the way. So I think that's what I'm going to do. So we're going to go ahead and carry this shelf through. That way it's the same level. All right, so let's get started on that. block through here, in between here to carry that through. We'll cut that real quick, 19/8. Rather than put a block in here and waste actually extra wood, I'm just going to go ahead and cut a board long enough to reach from the back side there to here, 28 inches. Alright, we'll go ahead and measure up by 35.5. That's the height we've been carrying all the way around. Measure out 2 foot. Back there. That's where we're going to put our board. We're going to run our board from here to here. 42 3/4. Be right back. Go cut that. Now we're going to have to put another board here, so we may as well go ahead and do it before we put this one on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure back 1.5 inches. That's where that board's going to come out flush. I'm going to cut that block 21 1/8. Alright, put a block in here. 15 1/4, 31 1/4. Measure off of this block here, 15 1/4, 1 1/4. We're going to cut our two 21-inch blocks. Just so you guys know, normally when you're framing something and you're going to run your plywood from end to end, you want to go ahead and carry your layout, meaning your 16, 32, 48 all the way through. The reason I went ahead and started with my 16 here next to this 2x4 is because we're going to stop our plywood right here, and then we're going to fill these in as our individual shelves. So it really doesn't make any difference. It's under 4 foot, so. And you know, something else to think about, trying to map this out as I go so I have very little waste in wood. You know, of course, we're going 2 foot this way, that way we get 2 pieces out of a sheet of plywood. We don't have any waste on that. We're right around 4 foot in between here, actually 45 inches. We'll have about 2 1/2, 2 3/4 inches waste at each end. It's not going to be a lot. So anyway, let's get these screwed in. I've said it 3 times and I'm going to change that bit. I've yet to do it. It's time. Wants to come out when you don't want it to, then it doesn't want to come out when you want it to. Alright, that one's built. Now we need to figure out how many shelves we want to put in the top. And I believe I'm going to go ahead and I'll put my pressure washer down there underneath of that one. Probably that way it's with all my roofing stuff. I use that a lot for cleaning roofs off, metal roof repairs. We'll probably put all the air compressors down here. Again, I apologize about all the lighting in here, guys. I haven't even run any wires yet. That's going to be another stage of the project. This is going to be a ongoing thing, so. All right, we also need to plan where the beer cooler is going to go. Because any man shed, or excuse me ladies, she shed, has to have a beer cooler or a wine cooler somewhere inside of here. So we're going to put one in, that's for sure. Let's figure this out here and see what we have. I want to make sure we get enough shelving in here. In between, we have 62, but if we're using a 2x4, it's going to take up a little bit of space. what are we going to do here? We definitely want to put some shelves in here. I think what we're going to do, we'll go 2 foot and have to hop up here. I think 4 foot's going to be a bit much. So we'll go 2 foot and do a smaller shelf after that. We'll go 40 inches after that. But that 2x4 block's going to take up a lot. I guess I want to do that. Yeah, we'll go 2 foot, then we'll go 44. Let's go cut 2 blocks, 45 and a half. Okay. Now we're going to put our blocks here. Two of them at 28. Over here, mark our 2 foot and our 44. It was hard to see after walking in that from sunlight into here. It's so dark. Let my eyes adjust. Foot. And 44. Now, because I ran this block in line with this block, that's in line with this 2x4, we need to set our boards back 1.5 inches. So we're just going to take our 2x4 block and mark that, and we're going to put our 2x4 right there. right, now we run our 2x4 in between. So we're gonna come over here, 2 foot. And we're going to measure in between. 42 3/4. I'm going to cut those. I'll be right back. All right. Now we're going to pull our 15 1/4, 31 1/4. One thing I will say, guys, when you go buy a tape measure, spend the money. Don't buy a cheap one. I don't know why I did. I do this stuff for a living, so you think I have better sense by now not to. But I know that our blocks are going to be 21, so let me go cut those 4 blocks. All right. got here? All right, guys. Got this corner built. Got most of our shelf built down through here. Show you that. Oh, let's see if I can loosen that up there so we can spin it. Got most of our shelf built down through there. What we're gonna do is we're gonna go ahead and replicate this corner down there in the corner. I'm not gonna bore you with that, so I'll get back with you here shortly once we get that done, and we'll start doing some plywood. We're gonna go ahead and set up and cut this plywood. Now, I'm not gonna recommend to any of you to do what I'm getting ready to do. My finger's pretty tough. If you're gonna do this, the best thing to do is mark 2 foot, chalk a line. But me, I've been doing this so long, and you get a splinter every now and then. And this stuff doesn't have to be perfectly straight. So what I'm gonna do is go ahead and put a mark down this plywood at 2 foot. What I'm doing is holding my pencil on the very end and holding my right hand finger at 2 foot and marking that. Now, I'm going to remind you, I don't recommend it because you wind up with a splinter like I just did. So you got to be careful. Yep. Sorry about the background noise. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to set your saw at the depth of your plywood, or just a hair thicker than your plywood. And the reason I say that is when you're cutting a long cut, if you have your saw set as deep as it'll go, the saw will want to move in and out and it won't move as freely. But the thing is, the saw is going to take off a lot faster with you having it set like this, but it makes it a lot easier. And the thing is, when you're cutting plywood and you're trying to cut straight, don't sit there an inch along and go slow, because the slow, believe it or not, the slower you go, the more you wobble in and out. Best thing to do is just go ahead and let the saw do its job and skim on through it and get it done. It don't have to be perfect. You're not making cabinets. If you're making cabinets, then get a table saw. This is just shelving. This is all we need. I'm going to go ahead and cut all the pieces, and then we'll get back in here in the garage and install them, and after that we'll call it a day. All right, all of our plywood's cut and laid in here on our shelves. I'm going to put a little piece between there. I didn't see the reason in notching that. When we have a little bit left over that we can cut and put in there, it's just shelves. I'm not going to bore you guys with installing all the screws in here, but so we can step back here and see what we've accomplished today. We have a nice built-in shelf, around 19 foot 6 long, and hey, after I build it, I got to start organizing all this stuff and get that in there and build the drawers. There's a lot left to do. If you guys want to follow along, I'd surely appreciate it. I'd ask that if you subscribe, that would be great. If you like this type of video, I know it's probably your first or second time watching it, so if you don't subscribe, I understand. Just check out the videos every now and then if they pop up. I'm not going to ask that you hit the bell notifications. That's what YouTube always says you should do, but I do other videos on this channel. I have my dog, Chanel, which was the original reason I started this channel. And I do videos for her, but I also do videos out back here. I shoot videos of the deer. I have a deer box back there, feeder box outside the window. Eventually, I'd like to set up a live cam and shoot some videos of when the deer are back there and let my subscribers know the best times to view rather than me have to make videos all the time. But unfortunately, you have to have 1,000 subscribers and all that stuff. So I'm working on it. And YouTube also says rather than alienate your viewers, you should start separate channels. I don't believe in that. If you don't like the video that's coming at you, you don't want to look at the deer, you don't want to look at Chanel, and you rather look at the builds or vice versa, just don't watch it. That's why I asked, don't hit the notification bells. I don't want you guys to get bugged with 2 or 3 different videos a week that you're not going to want to watch. I appreciate you guys. If you follow along, we have a lot left to do here. We're going to do all kinds of build inside of here. I have custom cabinets that I'm going to build for my kitchen in the house. That's the whole reason I built this shed. I need a little workshop that I can build everything in. So follow along and I'll try to teach you guys a little bit. And if you have any comments or any pointers, I'm willing to learn also. I'm not one of those old school stubborn ones. If you see me doing something wrong or you know a better way, please feel free to leave a comment below and I will not ignore it. I promise you. Thanks guys, and you have a good day.